the show. Well, with Terry Corrie in the studio as a new Bell Post Hill coach, we thought we'd take the opportunity to find out a bit more about Birdie's replacement. Terry, you mentioned before that you've been coaching for about 16 years. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I started coaching at Grovedale as an under-15 team. A lady by the name of Kath O'Connor got me involved with that, so Kath actually got me involved in coaching. As the years went on, I've been involved with Ocean Grove. I was at Ocean Grove for about 4 years, all up. Mottawarri for 2 years. Then I got involved with, which was then the Geelong State League Club, and coached Geelong. I think I was there 8 or 9 years in total. Then I went back to local coaching at St Albans for 3 years. And in between those periods of time, I had a year off at the end of every sort of stint, and just had another year off, as Bird's doing this year, mainly to determine whether I really wanted to keep going, because probably getting to the age now, and a lot of people involved in any sport, it's time more than anything now. And my wife Michelle and we've got 4 kids, so it's a handful. And in today's even economic climate and what's happening around the world at the moment and in everybody's workplace, it's good for me to see that everyone can still make a commitment to the sport. So I thought, well, I'll give it this year. I've committed to Bell Post Hill this year, and I'll see what the situation is at the end of the year, but thoroughly enjoy it.
So how did you find the difference stepping down from coaching the Geelong side to then coaching local netball again?
Very difficult, extremely difficult. You spend the amount of time with predominantly the elite players in the region, and generally you're coaching and instruction. To go back to local level, regardless of what club you go to or association, it's all the way back to the catching and throwing, footwork, passing and timing. And I'd probably, in all honesty, overcoached St Albans the first season I was there. We had the 2 wins. And then the next season we got 6. We were predominantly a very young side. But I had to adjust more than what they had to adjust. Very, very difficult, from just giving an instruction and running through the motions of your drill sessions and your full game plan in place, to going to a place as Bell Post Hill at the moment, where there's a 2-year plan in place to fill everything. So you try not to force feed them information. Everybody develops at a different stage as well. Some pick it up quickly, some don't. And at the end of the day, they've all got to have a grasp of what's going on out on that court. So it is a challenge that I enjoy doing, but certainly a challenge coming back from a state league level. I spent a week at the AIS with the Australian Under-21 team. I got an invite to go up there with Norma, who Bird and I have both been coached by. I think she's just for 2 or 3 years. And that was a great experience, just to see the instruction being given and being able to be carried out. But for those girls to get to that point, there was a lot of work put into them as well. So the adjustment is a good adjustment, because you can get carried away and expect too much from players at times. And you've got to just rethink that they're still learning. So.
We're very lucky in the league to have someone with your experience along as well, and it'll show in the games, and other teams will pick up what you're trying to learn, teach them as well, which is good. So very lucky there.
I think one of the things I did do on the weekend, because we're after, like most clubs and teams out on the court, we're after number one, the respect for the umpires, because we do want to get the 50-50 calls if they're there.
So you're rebuilding following on from last year?
Oh, they've all been pre-warned. I actually spoke to the umpires previous to the match on Saturday and put in a request that we don't get 2 warnings at Bell Post Hill. If they get warned, they're off the court on the coach's instruction. And that went over very well. And the teams were also told before they took the court that if they get warned once, it's on the coach's instructions that you come off the court, and that's it. And there's 6 other people they leave on the court that they've let down and disappointed. So the starting point for that on Saturday went very, very well, and I hope the umpires appreciated the way that we approached the game, and also Belmont approached the game. It was a very hard but fair game, and that's the way it should be.
Sounds very much like you bring a team focus to the game, saying, you know, if one player goes off, they leave the other 6 there. How do you find trying to build that relationship between the team?
so many different personalities in the team, and there always will be. And the only way, a lot of the times I know, previous experience and Bird probably the same, that you've made a commitment to your team, not necessarily your coach, and the people that you're going to let down are going to be the people that are working for you and you're working for them. And it's just a no tolerance situation. And no matter what club I've been at in the past, or as Belpost Hill, there's no champions at our club. We win and lose as a group, and that's the way it should be. And if you want to be there at the end of the day, I was very disappointed with our last quarter on the weekend, and I let the girls know that it would be heartbreaking for them that if we were lucky enough to get through to a grand final, to put in 3 intense quarters and drop off in the last quarter was very disappointing for 2 reasons. If it had been a grand final, we could have very well lost that game. And also I had 3 players sitting on the bench that I need to run their legs, and if I had known or preempted that last quarter, I would have made a couple of changes and put these kids on and let them run their legs, because it was they were let down basically by the starting 7, and I think they agreed with that after I'd mentioned it, that we've got other people there that we need to get up to date, and if we're not going to get 4 quarters of intense netball in a big game like that, please let me know, because I'll make the appropriate changes.
Birdie, you're sitting there rather quietly.
Hey, that's me this year. Nice and quiet. Quiet bird.
Any comments or questions for Terry?
Terry, what about attendance at training? You getting all the girls that you need to get at training?
Attendance at training, that's another thing that's very we've focused on it. It's a no tolerance thing. There's no way in the world, and I don't care who it is, if they're not at training, they don't start. We got thrown one from left field. We've got 2 World Cup players in the side, Sananu and Shirin, who are playing for Samoa. They're making a commitment when they can, but if they need to train before that World Cup and they can't train on the Thursday night, they don't start. And also Kim Martin, who's with the Geelong Cougars, which and I understand that they have to train 2 nights a week, and Thursday night's their other elect night.
So the Cougars train Thursday nights?
Yeah, which from our point of view, I'm a big supporter of Geelong and always will be. Particularly Geelong Cougars and the State League division of it. But it's probably something where the communication lines need to open up, because I'm sure it's not only Belpost Hill, but any players that are playing in division or in championship division, it would have an effect on their clubs if they got a Thursday night training. I don't know, I'm pretty sure everyone would train on a Thursday night. So I know when I did Geelong, we did it on a Sunday night and a Monday night, which wasn't ideal, but we were seeking the support of the associations. And to do that, we tried not to interfere with it. So maybe they have a reason that the girls can't make it other nights, or maybe the coach can't make it. But I'd like to see the lines open up a little bit and let them be aware that it is having a bit of an impact, especially when we're so strict on rules. And, you know, a lot of the girls make commitments to the club before they actually find out they're in a state league team. So the club's very understanding of it, and we will continue to support it. But I'd just like to know if there was any other options out there when we're talking about clubs and associations, particularly when we all do want to ensure that we support our Geelong State League team, particularly the championship team.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'd love to have Kim there every Thursday night at training with the girls up at the hill. But like you said, all the associations are right behind the Geelong Cougars and want them to do the best they can do. But possibly, like you said, is there maybe another night they could pick instead of a Thursday, because all the girls that play championship are affected with their local clubs, I suppose. And I'm sure coaches from GFL or BFL, if their players are playing championship, would like to see them maybe just on a Thursday night, because most local clubs only train 1 night a week. So, yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind though and see what we can do.
Yeah, it'd be good just to... And look, there may not be anything that they can do about it. They've got... And we have to support their decision and their commitment to.
Well, Terry, thank you so much for joining us on this morning's show. It's been great to have you in and to get to know you a bit better. We are out of time. There's no games, unfortunately, this weekend, but next weekend we'll be back with more netball. Stay around. Next up are the guys with the Geelong and District Football League show. See you next week.
I'm here to tell you how football is strong.